An 87-year-old volunteer has donated her fortune to Tzu Chi Clinic Center in the Philippines. 30 Tzu Chi volunteers help an elderly woman with dementia to clean up tons of recyclables from her home. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Jenny Lee. Thank you for joining us. In the Philippines, despite the pandemic, Tzu Chi Clinic Center continues to serve patients. Besides the doctors, there are other unsung heroes. For instance, an 87-year-old Tzu Chi volunteer has consistently donated money to the center.
Although she's 87 years old, Palu Tantra is still lively when she plays badminton. She said exercise is part of her health regimen. The other regimen is doing good deeds.
I listened to the master's teachings, and she said that women love jewelry. After buying so much jewelry, they are afraid of thieves, so they keep them in safe deposit boxes. Therefore, they need to rent safe deposit boxes. In fact, this money can be used to help many people. What she said was true.
Having the thought to help people, Tantra sold her jewelry. From 2007 to now, she has donated $4 million to Tzu Chi Clinic so that impoverished patients can regain their vision.
We purchased new equipment. The money she donated was suitable to be used to purchase the equipment, so we named the equipment after her. She was very happy when she learned of it.
Tantra, who encourages her children to do good deeds, also loves other members of the big Tzu Chi family.
She's very hardworking. Although she's elderly, she's still very hardworking. Sometimes, when the kitchen volunteers are very busy, she'll help cook food for us.
Having led a long life, Tantra said that real wealth does not refer to how much one has, but how much one's willing to give.
In 2009, Typhoon Ketsana caused major damage in the Philippines. Tzu Chi implemented work for relief program to engage affected residents and encourage them to rebuild their own homes. The plan introduced many residents to Tzu Chi, and many of them have become volunteers.
Adding a coin to the bamboo bank is a daily ritual for members of this family, both young and old. The motivation behind this act can be traced back 12 years ago.
September 26 po.
September 26, 2009, that day was my birthday and also the day when Typhoon Ketsana hit. I was in town at that time. I went to the market to buy noodles. The house was flooded when I got home.
Tas pag-uwi ko, yun na po, baha na.
There is still lingering fear among the residents when thinking back to 12 years ago. Typhoon Ketsana caused severe damage in the Philippines, and the city of Marikina was among the worst affected. Even after the waters receded, the flood left behind devastation to the residents. That was the first time Tzu Chi implemented work for a relief system, helping the affected residents to rebuild their home as soon as possible, and also leading to many locals to join the ranks of volunteers. She is one of the volunteers who joined.
Nag-start ako.
In 2010, I started to participate in Tzu Chi. Back then, I visited people's homes to do recycling. I drove to places that needed cleaning and helped transport recycling.
Tapos yung mag-clean up drive, yun sa mga lugar na lilinisin.
Now, in her gratitude for the help she has received in the past, not only does she lead by example in having her family save coins in the bamboo bank every day, she also invites her neighbors to join in doing good deeds together.
Yun sa alkansya po namin, bale yung asawa ko at kay anak ko.
My husband, daughter, and granddaughter save coins in a bamboo coin bank every day. I always tell them that we save $1 a day to plant seeds of kindness.
Having overcome the past challenges, they have come out stronger and will continue to protect their homeland with the faith and blessings they have cultivated.
Sai Tun and his wife escaped to Malaysia to avoid the political uncertainty of his country, Myanmar. They settled in Penang, but one of their sons has a chronic kidney disease. The doctors announced the child has 6 months to live, so Sai Tun decided to help fulfill his son's 3 wishes.
What they could do, can do, they have done. It's not even been a year, but the doctor said that there's nothing else they can do.
Sai Tun wanted to avoid the internal conflicts in Myanmar and escaped to Malaysia with his wife. In this country, they had children, and what should have been the beginning of their happy family life was not what they expected. When his son Sai was 1.5, he was diagnosed with chronic kidney failure and needed dialysis in order to live.
We heard from the UNHCR about a child with kidney disease, and since they cannot receive the benefits of the Malaysian medical insurance, if they don't receive help from a charity organization, then he will be transferred to hospice care. After discussion, we agreed to help the little one.
Even though the boy's medical fees are covered, Sai's medical outlook was still not good. The doctor gave him less than 6 months to live. Sai Tun decided to fulfill his son's 3 wishes. At the age of 7, Sai's first wish was to donate money to a senior home.
We will save money for Sai to donate as he doesn't have long to live. We hope the charity work can help him in his next life.
His second wish is to visit a big store, as Sai and his older brother have never had toys of their own. Their happiness is hard to miss. The third wish is to become a monk with his brother under the witness of his family and volunteers.
He might have been sad earlier because he felt that Sai will leave them forever. Later on, he realized that he is going to be a monk tomorrow and he was handing Sai over to Buddha, so it felt peaceful.
Impermanence is never easy to face, but if you just live and seize each moment in life, then fortune is your best reward.
Grandma Lim lives in Malaysia and is a Tzu Chi care recipient. A few years ago, she fell and injured her leg. Although her injury has recovered, her legs have become weak and it's inconvenient to live on the second floor. This has led the volunteers to help Grandma move to a more suitable home.
As usual, Tzu Chi volunteers went to the care recipient Grandma Lim's house for a visit, but this time they were on a special mission.
I took the pill so I feel dizzy and then I went to sleep.
The 77-year-old Grandma Lim lives alone. She suffers from a leg injury and cannot walk easily. Volunteers help organize her belongings and prepared for a move to a new place.
Because of her foot injury, it's been a long time and didn't heal. It's also possible that she's old and it's harder to climb up and down the stairs. And considering her safety issue, we suggested her to find a house without stairs. You can call her Ah Qing. You can call her Ah Ling. I'm Ah Ye. I hope you live here and I give you my blessing. It's a comfortable place. It's also convenient for you to live here and going in and out.
Volunteers arranged for Grandma Lin and another woman to live under the same roof and take care of each other.
Now that she moved in, I feel at ease. At least we can take care of her more. After a long time, I'll treat her as my own mother and take care of her like this.
Volunteers take care of the elders attentively, hoping to accompany them in a safe, secure, and peaceful location.
Tzu Chi Assistive Device Warehouse provides assistance to families of disabled patients. 81-year-old Mr. Huang, who had a colon resection, weighs only 40 kilograms. Most of his daily life relies on his wife's care. Tzu Chi sent an electric hospital bed to relieve the pressure of care, giving the needy families the most practical help.
Assistive devices are placed at both sides of the narrow aisle, fulfilling the hope of countless families. This time, Tzu Chi Assistive Device Warehouse is sending an assistive device to help the family of Mr. Huang, who is 81 years old and is disabled because of cancer.
In the past, when it was time to feed my father, my mother was unable to lift him up. That assistive device is very convenient and useful. There are a lot of things like wheelchairs and others. It's very convenient. We don't have to worry whether to buy it or not. It is really convenient for us to borrow it.
With empathy, volunteers serve the clients tirelessly. They immediately replace one when a defect is found.
Before, I took care of my father for more than 10 years, so I'm slowly used to face every client with empathy and also learn from it.
volunteers also try to understand the needs of different families and give the most suitable assistance. The 92-year-old Grandma Zhang has a severely fractured lumbar spine. The volunteer, who has also experienced the pain before, is attentive to every detail.
If someone suffers from a bone injury today and we give him an air bed, he will hurt his surgery wound if he moves. However, he will become more comfortable if he uses this because we know your condition, so we give you this.
This really helps a lot if we can borrow or rent it. After finished using it, we can return it to the unit, right? The money we saved can be used to do charity.
Wherever there is a need, no matter how far or how difficult it is, the loving footstep will never stop.
In Hualien, Grandma Yang lives alone and collects recyclables for a living. 2 years ago, she was diagnosed with mild dementia and has difficulty taking care of herself. She piled up a lot of garbage and recyclables at home, and the sanitary condition was unbearable. Thankfully, 30 Tzu Chi volunteers worked together to clean the place for her.
The warehouse is filled with items, as it is hard to distinguish whether it's a garbage or recyclable. The only remaining space is the area where Grandma Yang sleeps.
The
80-year-old Grandma Yang lives by collecting recyclables. The residents nearby will send recyclables to her home. She suffered from mild dementia 2 years ago. More and more collected things were left unorganized, making her home very messy.
It is unable for Grandma to handle it by herself, so we Tzu Chi volunteers are quickly mobilized to clean up her house thoroughly, and we will also contact our long-term elderly care team to come to accompany her together with us.
30 volunteers work together and spend 2 days to tidy the garbage. The house now becomes very clean and tidy.
Actually, her bed is quite big, but there are lots of things on it. During the cleaning process, we helped the grandma clear out the things. We also found many cockroaches and bugs.
Volunteers also made a notice board to remind the neighbors not to pile up recyclables at Grandma Yang's home, so that she can have a clean and comfortable place to live.
In Taoyuan, recycling volunteer Huang Shuzhen has been suffering from breast cancer recurrence in the past 10 years. Even though the cancer cells have spread, she still seizes every opportunity to contribute.
I'm fine, both spiritually and physically. So if I'm not allowed to come out, I will be very sad.
10 years ago, Huang Shuzhen found that she had breast cancer. Since then, her life became more fruitful.
I can't tell at all because she's healthier than me.
She always smiles and speaks sonorously and doesn't seem like falling sick nor suffering any pain.
The doctor asked if I had finished the painkiller and whether it was necessary to prescribe it again. I told him that I didn't take any of them. I didn't have any pain.
Even though the cancer cells recurred, she has no complaint but faces it calmly.
I'm fortunate to have met the Master in my life. She gave me spiritual support. I hope that with the Master's support, all the karma of my past life will be able to compensate it in this life.
Faith is the strongest support in the face of illness.
厦门 Tzu Chi volunteer Sun Jinghua has been doing recycling for 11 years. Now, although her community is being demolished for rebuilding, she continues to sort recyclables and hope to bring this wave of environmental concerns to her new neighborhood.
Riding her scooter on a familiar route, Tzu Chi volunteer Sun Jinghua, who is 51, is heading towards a restaurant to help organize their recyclables.
Recycling has been a way of meditation, and it's also my way of cultivating blessings. I'm so happy to have found this practice.
In 2009, she met Tzu Chi and started doing charity work, but then later fell in love with recycling and have since then gone out each day to sort recyclables.
The chores at home can be done at night or other times during the day, but recycling work is time sensitive. I need to finish by 5 p.m., otherwise the recycling truck cannot take it. The truck is here at 5 p.m. and leaves at 9 a.m. the next day, so we need to manage our time.
She not only uses part of her home as storage for the recyclables. In 2017, she also donated a storefront to be used as a recycling point, so the nearby volunteers can do sorting as well.
Sister Jinghua provided a storefront for easy access to sorting recyclables. It's so convenient. If we have some recyclables around, we'll bring them here.
Sun always said she's the youngest at the recycling station, so she should bear more responsibility, and it's her willingness to do more that has other volunteers sing her praises.
On her own, she goes around to 3 or 4 stops, and most of the time just hurries to take a lunch, not resting before going on her next location.
Thinking back to when she started recycling, Sun's family did not approve of her ways, as they thought of it as picking up garbage. But 10 dedicated years later, her husband is her biggest supporter now.
My husband is on the recycling wagon now. During lunch, if I don't have time to cook a meal, he will do it. He also goes grocery shopping too.
Due to the urbanization plans of Xiamen government, the recycling point at Caitangshe district will close at the end of March. But these volunteers continue to sort in hopes of bringing this momentum to the new community.
After the 2008 Wenchuan earthquake, one of the schools aided by Tzu Chi, Chaoyang Tzu Chi School, inherited Tzu Chi's humanities principles. Every semester, a donation activity will be held. The school will use these donations to help needy students in the school and the residents in the community.
At Chaoyang Tzu Chi School, students enter the school after their body temperature is checked and are ready for the study. However, after entering the campus, they gather in the playground first, because this day is a donation day.
It is mainly to use the donations raised to help the needy students in our school, as well as some elderly people and the needy in the community.
This good tradition has existed before Tzu Chi assisted school. Not only students are willing to contribute, but many parents also participate every semester.
I think that the students are actually still young and don't know much about gratitude. At least through this activity, they will learn to be grateful, knowing that they should do their best to help others.
They will know everyone's love for them, and they can also learn to love others in their own way, which is very good and can increase the children's cultivation of love.
Tzu Chi's spirit of great love has taken root in our school. We pass on our love, let the students get some care and love, and then let them live a happier life.
After the donation, the school also pressed these loving little angels and immediately sent grains and stationery to the needy students, bring them warmth.
In our series about hiking mountains in Taiwan, we continue to pursue the issue of safety in the mountains. In addition to accidents, severe hypothermia may take a person's life within 3 hours, which is much faster than mountain sickness. Next, let's learn how to properly prepare for these challenges.
Lin Yihua, a professional mountaineering guide, is one of the first women in Taiwan to climb the highest peak in South America. Rock climbing is Lin Yihua's typical training regimen.
I think rock climbing helps mountaineering the most. You can learn to solve your own body balance issues with each muscle allowing you to use your force. A lot of hiking roads you must climb straight up, but lots of geology in Taiwan's mountains are very unstable and fragile. Many times you have to rely on 2 feet, stepping with 1 foot and then finding your center of gravity and balance.
Lin Yihua believes that nature is her home, and in order to know this home, she must prepare herself for challenges.
I think mountaineering ability requires skill and physical strength, and because you have this interest, you will go and learn and develop habits like doing cardio exercises every day. For jogging, you have to run for at least 20 to 30 minutes so that your heartbeat will jump above 100. But it can't be too high because you have to last 40 minutes or even an hour or two, will let you find the actual rhythm of long-term exercise.
Serving as a mountaineering instructor and guide, Lin Yihua always reminds students that climbing should be done step by step.
You should start climbing a hill for 3 to 4 hours, and maybe a week later you go climbing a mountain for a whole day or 6 hours. You should do this step by step and take the time to climb the mountain by yourself. Go slowly lets you gain strength. Many people have altitude sickness is because, first of all, they haven't been to the mountains before, and secondly, their basic physical fitness is lacking.
You should slowly hike the mountain. If you're hiking up the mountain, I don't think this is a big problem unless you climb too high. For example, a high mountain over 4,000 meters means the chance of mountain sickness will indeed increase. Problems could include high-altitude cerebral edema and pulmonary edema, which means one should go down the mountain immediately.
Except for mountain sickness, losing temperature in the mountains is quite dangerous. Severe hypothermia may take the patient's life within 3 hours. Death from hypothermia is faster than mountain sickness.
It rains while climbing, or if your route is long and there's nothing in the middle that allows you to shelter from the wind and rain, you'll be in these conditions for several hours. In fact, it is still dangerous at this time, and we have to keep going. You have to have a physical fitness to keep going, as you need to exercise to avoid the loss of temperature.
Lack of knowledge or misconceptions by people can increase problems. For example, when they go up the mountain, someone may call for help by dialing 119 or 112 for someone to rescue them. This isn't wrong, but the government will send people to rescue, but it may be too late because going up the mountain is really not easy. When they go up the mountain to get a sick person and go down the mountain again requires lots of effort.
If you go to the forest, I always say thank you first for letting me come here and hope that you can bless us with peace and safety.
Becoming familiar partners and overcoming arrogance can lead hikers to safely enter the mountains with greater respect and gratitude, potentially better appreciating the fun of exploring the mountains and forests.
In New Taipei City, Tzu Chi's parent-child program arranged an outdoor activity at Yunshan Park. And one of the challenges, children have to muster their courage to promote vegetarian diet to passers-by. Thank you for watching. See you next time.